My, oh my, is it not just a big, it is a huge day for Modern Warfare 3, Zombies, and Warzone. Every single season when an update comes out, I make a video and it's called 55 big changes in the season 1 update or something along those lines. Well, this one is the first time ever that number is in the triple digits. We have like over 130 huge changes to the game here. And in fact, it's not just one set of patch notes, it is two. Raven put out their own Warzone patch notes, whereas Modern Warfare put out the multiplayer and zombies patch notes. So in this video, we are going to go over all of them. If you're just interested in one thing, there will be timestamps on the video. So if you just want zombies, you just want multiplayer, you just want Warzone, you can go to that individual section. But we have so much to power through here. So without further ado, here are all of the season 1 patch notes, everything that has changed, the 130 something changes. Let's dive into it. All right, first off, we're going to start out with Modern Warfare 3 and Zombies. Warzone will be later on in the video, but again, timestamps down below. It starts off with our basic overview. We have had videos on this. It talks about the new multiplayer maps. So we have Greece, Meat, and Training Facility. That is the gunfight map. These are, of course, the new maps within the season. Then we have our new kill streaks, the EMP. This one's going to be 13 kills or 1,625 or through care packages. I like that they put that in there. Basically, it's a big bomb that goes off and disrupts enemy kill streaks and equipment. We have seen this before. We also have the Swarm. This is a Black Ops kill streak. This one is 15 kills or 1,875. It's a large number of mosquito drones that provide blanket coverage to an entire area. Really looking forward to seeing what that one's like. We have our new vest. This is a new perk. It's the Assassin Vest. Basically, it's the sneaky vest, if you want to call it that. Kills don't display skulls, immune to UAV and enemy radar effects, including, well, stationary. That is crazy that they are making that. That is more powerful than Ghost. That is insane, in my opinion. New modes, we have All or Nothing and Gunfight, so both kind of party modes. We have new weapons. We have the Ram 7 assault rifle. This is an exceptional impact. We've seen the Ram 7 before. It's an A7 of the Battle Pass. We've talked about the Battle Pass in a video already. We have the XRK Stalker. This is chambered 50 cal sniper. This is an A4 of the Battle Pass. And then the Storm Ender. This is a state-of-the-art weapon system that fires a localized EMP on a slight delay, destroys tactical and lethal equipment, and temporarily disables electronic devices. In Warzone, this should disable vehicles, so I'm curious to see how that one actually works. And this is an A12 of the Battle Pass. Then we have our aftermarket parts. We have the Jack Purifier. This is an underbarrel flamethrower. You can see the weapons here that it's compatible with. You can pause it if you want to check it out. We have the Jack Eaton, might be saying that, the double barrel kit. This kit creates 2 stacked barrels that fire simultaneously. It's on the AMR SMG. It basically cuts the time to kill in half, which is insane. Then we have the Jack BRB. So it's a massive reduction to recoil. However, there's an extended red dot on radar. So it's on many of the assault rifles SMGs. I'm very curious to see how that one actually works. We have the Bullseye. This is actually a red dot sight. I'm very curious to see what that one's like. We have the Glassless Optic. Same kind of thing goes with that one. The Signal Burst is a conversion kit designed for a 4-round burst for the Holger 556 AR. This could make it really good because the burst weapons were really good in this game. The Jack Beholder. This converts the TYR handgun into a single-shot rifle. Very curious to see what that one's all about. Then we have a similar thing, the Headhunter. This is for the Rival 9, converting it into a burst action 3-round burst, more so rifle that's good at mid-range. Then we have our new operators. These ones are Abolisher. That's a part of Black Cell. Dokabi, this is Kortak. She is kind of the boss within Zombies for this season. And then we have Nolan. Then we have our new events. So the new event, the Zombie Santa event, is going to be coming in season, not at the launch. We have the new Battle Pass and new PC features as well. Now we have a bunch of quality of life improvements here. Now, I'm not going to read through all of these UI and bug fixes and things like that, but I'm going to point out some of the big ones. The biggest one is player health and stamina are now represented by dynamic bars on the HUD. So that is huge. That is going to give us a little bit more information on how to play better. Once you're in game, you will definitely see that one. I believe it's in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. Everything else is pretty straightforward there. Now, when we get into gameplay, movement added a delay following multiple rapid stance transitions to prevent exploitable repetition. So crouch to stand 150 milliseconds, prone to stand 600 milliseconds. I believe, I could be wrong, I believe this is to counteract snaking. I could be wrong, but I think that that is what that is for. Spawns. Improve spawn protection against enemy equipment and kill streaks. So there's now spawn protection. I don't know how I feel about that. We'll have to wait to see how strong it is. In Hardpoint, several adjustments have been made to improve the flow of combat. So basically the Hardpoint spawn sucked. Now they should be better. We've introduced a delay. Yeah, okay, I was right. They just basically explained what I just explained to you. So snaking, they're trying to fix that, and that is what those delays are for. I don't know how it will affect the rest of the movement. We'll have to wait and see. So then we get into our weapon tuning. This is the one I try to go through as quick as possible and just explain to you what the buff or nerf is on that weapon. So first off, we have the MTZ556. This one got a nerf essentially to its hip fire, and that's what you need to know. The Bass B got a buff to its lower torso and arm and hand multipliers by quite a bit, so should make it better. The Sidewinder got a buff to its aim down sights time, so it's now 265 milliseconds. The Striker got a buff to both its sprint to fire and aim down sights time. Same thing with the WSP Swarm, as well as the Striker 9 getting a buff sprint to fire and aim down sights as well. Moving on to the shotguns. Technically, the Lockwood 680 got a buff where your tactical stance will no longer reduce the pellet count, so that was more so a bug that they fixed. The marksman rifles, the MCW 6.8, they basically just fixed a bug with the aim down sights animation when using specific attachments. The riot shield increased melee damage up to 75, and they added a 10% movement speed penalty while stowed. So this is to prevent people from just running around with a riot shield on their back. I like that update, but there's a slight buff to the damage that it does. So I think a pretty good trade-off. Now, there's a bunch of attachments here that they go over. I'm not going to go into each one of those. They will be very specific to what you're using it on. You can pause it here and read them if you want. But then we get into our Modern Warfare 2 carry forward content. So as far as this goes, they just basically buffed and nerfed a bunch of these weapons as well. So the M4 from Modern Warfare 2, of course, the maximum damage went up to 35. So that's a big buff there. The TAC V increased the lower torso and leg and foot damage multipliers to 1.1, so a buff there. The submachine guns, the Vaznev 9K, increased the medium damage to 30. The ISO 45 got increased maximum damage to 33. So as you can see, they're buffing a lot of the Modern Warfare 2 weapons. The KV broadside increased the maximum damage range from 9 to 10 meters, so a slight buff there. The RAL MG, they basically decreased the aim down sights, sprint out, and tactical sprint times for all of these. So that's a buff for that. The 5.56 Icarus had the increased maximum damage to 34, but decreased headshot multiplier to 1.1. So kind of a buff and nerf for this weapon. The marksman rifles, the SPR 208, got a increase of the maximum damage range from 15 to 20 meters, as well as a decreased aim down sights time. The Basilisk got a buff as well. And that is all of the weapons, buffs, and nerfs. Now, progression. Essentially, the only thing you need to know here is they've increased the level cap from 55 to 250. That is all you need to know. Now, this is one that I haven't seen in a Call of Duty in a very long time. They're updating the maps in big ways. This never happens. So, for example, on Derail, they swapped the attacker and defender initial spawn positions and control. Cool things like that. With Estate, they improved bullet penetration through the staircase at Lodge. High Rise improved ambient audio reverberation in the mechanical room. Like, just very specific updates to maps. I'm not going to read through all of these. Again, you can pause it if you want to, but I think it's really cool that they're updating the game like that. I haven't seen that in patch notes in a really long time. Modes, Ground War, pregame lobby countdown timer will no longer reset when a player leaves. Thank God. Then Search and Destroy. Increased player XP earned for several score events. Kills, 500. Assists, 200. Shielded assists, 400. Headshots, 1,000. Plant, 1,000. So the XP in these modes, way, way higher. Also, Ninja Diffuse. I like that they put that. Now, as far as equipment goes, the Throwing Star, they addressed an issue that allowed one-hit kills without headshots. So that's actually a nerf to the Throwing Star. Then we have the EMD Grenade. Prompt to removed tracker will no longer persist after death. So that was a bug with that one. Field upgrades, the deployable cover, you can now only deploy once. That makes sense. Trophy system, mosquito drones will no longer be targeted. So I guess technically a nerf to the trophy system. I thought they fixed that before. Then kill streaks, basically they've fixed 3 bugs, one with the Juggernaut Recon, one with the Precision Airstrike, and one with the remote turret. Then we have vehicles and tanks. This is specifically for ground war, obviously. Now, moving into zombies. So first off, they have added in the Act 4 new story missions are now immediately available for all players to start in Season 1. So I don't know, but it seems as though maybe you don't need to complete Act 3 to actually go into these. A massive gateway has appeared in the exclusion zone. Investigate the area and engage in new endgame content. I'm assuming that is for the next thing, the Dark Ether Rifts. Dark Ether Rifts bring rewards to those who can brave their challenges. These otherworldly labyrinths are located inside the Dark Ether, where players and their squads have a limited time to complete a series of increasingly chaotic objectives to earn exceptional rewards, find sigils to enter the Dark Ether Rifts, and face new levels of challenges. So I don't know if that is what they're talking about with the massive gateway or not. We'll have to wait and see. The Wonder Weapon, new weapon is the VR11. Shoot zombies and transform them into humans, or blast humans to mutate them into friendly zombies. That's kind of cool. Players receive a buff when shot, and the VR11 has been added to the mystery box as well, and the VR weapon case is now available via loot. The also new acquisitions, so there's essentially 3 here. The dog bone allows you to summon the highest tier dog. These are schematics that you can get in game. It doesn't say how to get them at this point though. Golden armor plate, basically your armor automatically regenerates after using the golden armor plate, and the ether blade is a throwing knife that operates as a boomerang and can kill multiple people. There's also prestige challenges, which is a good thing. Of course, that's with our level going up to 250. The battle pass weapons are implemented, and global changes as well. So Urzikstan got several visual map fixes. There's been updates to the Scorcher. They fixed the weapon cases duplicate exploit. And then just several issues with missions. Bounties got a little bit more difficult. So if you go too far away from the bounty, they're going to run back to the spawn and they're going to heal more. So they're kind of making you stay in that area more. Outlast contracts got nerfed for spawning unlimited zombies. So the zombies are only going to spawn if you are progressing the contract now. And same thing goes with the raid weapon stash. However, spore controls are not. So as far as leveling up weapons, spore control is the way to go. Outlast and raid weapon stash got nerfed in that situation. As far as the other things that we have here, they just fixed problems with ether tools and things like that. However, Tombstone, they fixed duplication exploits with that. So if you were doing that, it is probably no longer going to work. However, coming in season, all exfils will increase the number of enemies spawned, with the final exfil receiving a significant boost. So exfil camping to level up weapons might be viable again in season, but keep in mind, this isn't happening now. However, at launch, more formidable enemies will be added to exfils in all zones. So I'm assuming those are special zombies. So that might work for leveling up your camos, like to complete various camos to get the special zombie kills. They might actually be at exfils now, which might be a way to do that. We'll have to wait and see how many are actually there. There's also several fixes for various disciples, hellhounds, zombies, things like that. Now, one thing that they fixed is experimental gas grenades against the ether worm. I actually put up a video last night on my second channel where I killed the ether worm in literally like 20 seconds with gas grenades. Also, nerf to decoy grenades. Instead of being able to have 3 of these, they reduced it to 2, and they reduced the duration from 8 seconds to 6 seconds because everyone was using these. It is going to be way harder to play solo now. This is something that I will say, but you're just going to have to go to those ammo stashes a little bit more. But big nerf there, especially for us solo zombies players. That's what I do over on my second channel, so that kind of sucks. Juggernaut addressed an issue where players could destroy an exfil helicopter with the Juggernaut, so that is now fixed. Sentry turret. Players can no longer kill themselves or others while placing the sentry turret. I guess that's good. Camos fixes, UI fixes, progression, completionist camos, everything like that. And then the last thing that we have is stability. Adjustments have been made to better ensure players keep their loadout and rucksack inventory if they do not successfully deploy into a match, and they added various crash fixes. So still nothing if the game crashes and you can't get back into it, you still lose your stuff. However, if you don't infill, you should be able to get your stuff back. So they're working on it, but still not what we want. Now, moving into Warzone. All right, so Warzone, we've already talked about everything up here, the Santa event, the attachments, things along those lines. So specifically getting right into Warzone, this is our new map. This is Urzikstan. This is what you can play. We have the drivable train. This, you can take control of it, control the direction of it, things along those lines. You have horizontal zip lines. This is for new traversal. We have major points of interest. I'm not going to go through all of these, but if you want to have a look at the individual images, if you've played zombies, you know these locations. So there's really nothing new to talk about there. However, I will say visually, it looks pretty crazy and the graphics are looking pretty good on these things. Now, the Gulag. So one thing that they've done new with the Gulag though is they have variants of it. So they have a more chaotic one, they have a more open one, and then they have a open centered with flank routes. So this version that you are seeing in this picture isn't the only one that we're going to get. There's going to be variants of the Gulag. On top of this, there is public events to go with the Gulag. So you can go again, you get another chance if you lose your fight. There is a cash grab, there is more cash on the ground, and there's a locked and loaded where you start the Gulag with full armor and 2 upgraded guns to get you back into the game faster. On top of that, the overtime is no longer a flag, it's an ascender, so you can go grab it and exit, but you can get killed while you are on the ascender, so it's an interesting one. Also, there is post-victory looting, so upon eliminating your opponent, players are allowed to continue roaming and looting the Gulag until the moment they are redeployed in the field, so you can get money, get items, things along those lines. So moving into the Warzone modes. First off, we have Battle Royale. It's the returning mode. The map is Urzikstan. The player count is 100 and the match length is approximately 20 minutes. So a lower player count, but the game is shorter than almost every Warzone map that we have seen. They talk more in depth about this and the big bounty contracts, things along those lines. But moving into Resurgence. So we have Ashika Island and Vondel. So in solos, the player counts 52. Same with duos. Trios is 51 and quads is 52. Then we have Vondel. It is 72 across the board here. Then we have Urzikstan Resurgence. So the location is Urzikstan. The specific points of interest are Orlov Military Base, Popov Power, and Zaravan Suburban. The player count is 44, except in trios, which it is 45. Then, of course, we have Rotation Resurgence returning as well, and that is going to be on the returning maps of Ashika Island, Vondel, and then Urzikstan on the specific points of interest. Now, we also have Plunder returning. This is on Urzikstan, and the player count of this one is 100, so your full lobby, and the match length of this one is approximately 15 minutes. We also have Lockdown. This is a returning mode. If you played it on Vondel before, you know exactly what this one's all about. It's essentially like Hardpoint, but this time on Warzone. As far as our playlist goes, starting out today, we have Battle Royale, we have Urzikstan, solos, duos, trios, and quads, all of them coming out today. Resurgence, we have Urzikstan with POIs on solos, duos, trios, and quads, and Plunder. So as of this week until the 8th, that is all we have just for the next 2 days. And then the 8th, the 13th, we have Urzikstan on Battle Royale. We have Resurgence with Vondel and Ashika in map rotation as well, and Plunder on Urzikstan. And we see a similar thing once again on December 14th. So as far as weapons in Warzone, there isn't really weapon balancing here. As we go through, they just put a description on all of the weapons being added. These are all of the same Modern Warfare 3 weapons. They are not changing anything with them. If you want to see what changed with those weapons, be sure to check out the multiplayer portion of this one. But just know that these weapons are not being buffed or changed. They are just being added in from Modern Warfare 3. Now, as far as general adjustments, backup pistols has been added in. So basically, even if you don't have a pistol on your loadout, while you're ledge hamming, climbing a ladder, swimming underwater, you're going to have a pistol with you. It is the Core 45 at all times. So the next one is interesting. It's locational damage multipliers. They say that headshot multipliers are broadly decreased and arms and now match the torso damage. So in other words, it doesn't really matter where you shoot someone. As long as you're hitting them, it's going to be relatively the same, which means headshots mean a lot less unless you are using the CAT AMR, because it will be a one shot to the head from any distance. So this is going to be your Warzone sniper if you want headshot kills. Keep that in mind. Riot Shield slows your movement, so that's good, and people won't be just running Riot Shields around like crazy. Weapon tuning, it has been removed. That's essentially all you need to know. And then we have launcher damage. So this is specifically damage to vehicles. So most launchers will destroy lighter vehicles. The only weapons that will destroy larger vehicles are the RPG-7 and the Joker, so just keep that in mind. Other new features, classic red dots, they are returning to the minimap, so if you shoot your weapon, it is not silenced, you are showing up on that map. Reload cancel, they're back, thank God, I love that. Improved water combat, in other words, there's more visibility in water, as well as the backup pistol, as we talked about before. Redeploy weapons, being brought back now grants a weapon that changes based on the current circle number. So if you get redeployed by your team, you are going to come back with a weapon. That weapon changes based off of how late you are in the game. Another thing, we talked about this in a previous video, but the ground weapons now display a color associated with them. So for example, this one has 4 attachments, so it is purple. If it had 5, it would be that gold orangey color. The ground spread of items is better when killing people, opening boxes, things like that. Revive pistol has been removed, but may return in a future season. And legendary audio. This one's very specific, but Guitar Celebration returns when finding legendary loot because it just didn't feel right without some iconic riffs. Very specific, but cool. Also, the backpack has been updated, so now you have individual sections for ammo. This is awesome. I'm very glad that they did this. It frees up some space in your backpack, but I love that they did that. Also, navigating through your backpack should be better because it wraps from side to side. Another cool one is identical kill streaks auto equip. So instead of having to pull out another kill streak and equip it, it will just auto equip after using one. So that is good. Your backpack now displays if you have a gulag entry kit or not. Navigation pings, the ability to ping doors with specific yellow warning pings has been removed to alleviate frustrations when trying to place navigation pings. That's nice. Kill cam pings, players will now be able to observe all enemy pings while watching kill cams. Nothing too crazy there. Buy stations, interact distance. After this, we have loadout pricing. So buy stations in solos, it's now 7,500. In duos, it's 10,000. In trios, it's 12,500. And in quads, it is 15,000. So this is decreased all around. In other words, they are trying to get your loadouts more quickly. Squad outline, the distinctive white visual design of the loadout crate from 2020 makes a return. So they're bringing back things from 2020. Gas mask, you can now manually equip gas mask or stow it so you don't have to put it on immediately, or you don't have to put it on when you go into the gas or anything like that. The next thing is gas pacing. So the circle time reduced to 160 seconds, circle 2 140 seconds. In other words, all of them are much quicker than before, except for the 4th and 5th. These have actually been made longer. So the end game is going to take a little bit longer, whereas the first couple circles are going to be faster. I think I like this, but the total match time is 20 minutes and 20 seconds as a whole. And they increased the gas damage from 9 to 10, so a little bit more damage there. The redeploy drones will now remain in the gas for 45 seconds to allow people to escape, and the drones will move slightly faster when repositioning. Drones will begin to leave after the 5th circle, and the catapult distance of the drone has been increased so you can traverse a larger distance. There's also a new parachute texture, so when you first drop in, stay tuned to that. That's an interesting one. Spawn protection timer, the duration of the spawn protection has been reduced to 2.5 seconds, down from 10. That's a great addition in my opinion. And this is the same in all modes except for Resurgence. So your spawn protection is still going to be there in Resurgence. The infill height has decreased to 402 meters, down from 483. Strongholds are now an event. They are not just there every single game. Black sites are in the game still, but they're only going to be revealed if you find a black site key. So perks, as far as this goes, all of your movement behavior perks are immediately applied to your character so that you can choose other perks for your character. You can choose 4 perks in game. I'm not going to go through all of these because we've talked about these in previous, but so as far as changing to perks, first off, we have Ghost. Now, when you're using Ghost, you have to be moving for it to actually work, which is a big thumbs up in my books. Survivor, faster revive speed, reduced health regeneration delay, and reduced cash lost on death. And enemies that down you are automatically pinged. So that's a crazy one. Decreased health regeneration time to 4 seconds instead of 7. And can be acquired via a loot as a medic plate carrier, just like Ghost can be with the stealth plate carrier. Cold-blooded will negate the mark of Combat Scout. So yeah, if you didn't know already, Combat Scout is back. Battle Hardened now reduces the effect of frangible bullets and abilities. Double Time increases the tac sprint duration and reduces refresh time. No longer increases the prone and crouch speeds. And then of course it gets into our plate carriers. If you've played Warzone or DMZ, you know how these work, so I'm not going to go through that. Movement, these are what we were talking about before. So these are what you're going to have on your character right away. Tac pads, commando gloves, quick grip gloves, and climbing boots. All of these things are just applied to your character right away. You do not have to equip those. So the new movement, this is the same as Modern Warfare 3. So this isn't something I'm going to go over. Contracts, we have the big game bounty coming in and scavenger. If you played Warzone before, you know what both of these are. The one update is your bounties are now on laptops, no longer on phones, and they've updated contract spawning to increase the amount of contract spawns later in the match. The bounty contract now gives a single UAV ping around the bounty target when the hunter team kills them. So that's cool. That helps with the rest of the team, I guess. The intel contract, you now capture it faster when you have additional squad mates present. Most Wanted contract. So this one's interesting. Surviving this contract will spawn a high value supply crate, which will always include a gulag entry kit. So just more of a reason to do the Most Wanted, because before that, there really was no reason. Signals Intelligence contract. The passive income per player is now 10 payments of 750 for a total of 7,500 over 3 minutes and 20 seconds. New public events. So we have the restock supply sweep. We have the flyby, which is now going to drop a bunch of buy stations across Urzikstan. We have strongholds. We've already talked about that one. And then fire sale, item discount decreased to 50%, which is up from 30. So you can buy more during a fire sale. Then of course we have our new equipment. We have our breacher drone. If you didn't already know, this one is in multiplayer. Thermobaric, basically all of your items from Modern Warfare 3. We don't need to go through all of this. Then we also have some updates to equipment. So drill charge now does more damage. Claymore does more damage. Frag grenade does way more damage. Semtex also does more damage. And thermite does a little bit more damage. So all of your lethals are way better than before, and I'm curious to see how that's going to be implemented. Smoke grenades got nerfed. They now last less amount of time. Stim now grants a slight movement boost of 7%, which isn't too much, but it is a little bit. And then we have experimental gas, deals 5 damage per second, 3 damage to those who are resistant to gas damage. Shock stick got a buff as well. Snapshot grenade now highlights for 1.65 seconds, up from 1.25. Battle Rage now also mitigates 10% of damage taken while under the effects. And flash grenades now only flashes targets looking at them, so just like Modern Warfare 3. Heartbeat sensor is now classified as a field upgrade. It pulses every 2.5 seconds, which is a little bit better than before, and the range is larger than before, but it's now a field upgrade. It's not a piece of equipment. Also, the portable radar range increased drastically. As far as new equipment, we have the Guardian is in the game and the Mosquito drone as well. I'm very curious to see how that works in the end game. That could be very, very powerful. And the new vehicles, we have the Coyote. That's the one that you're seeing here. Now, there's a bunch of UI fixes, but the one thing that I wanted to point out is your combat record. Players will launch Season 1 with a fresh combat record, which will immediately begin showing statistics for Battle Royale. The combat records will now roll out in the following phases. Season 1 Battle Royale, Season 2 Resurgence, Season 3 Plunder. So there is going to be combat records. In Season 1, it's only Battle Royale. In Season 2, it's Resurgence. And Season 3, it's Plunder. So just keep that in mind. But they are in there and it will be fresh. So it's brand new. So to answer the question, yes, your stats are going to be reset going into Season 1, which I think is a good thing. I wouldn't think it was a bad thing if they were literally reset your stats every single season. So, or implemented a seasonal leaderboard for Warzone. I think that would be pretty cool. But anyway, that is it. Those are all the patch notes. I've recorded for like 40 minutes. This is probably going to be nearly a 30-minute long video. So hopefully you enjoyed it. If you found it informative, hit that like button, subscribe. I know it was a lot of information all at once. These are the largest amount of patch notes I've ever had. So if you enjoyed, hit that like button. If you're new, subscribe, turn notifications on. That is Season 1 in a nutshell. We should have more coming out later this afternoon. But until then, thank you so much for watching. Until next time, peace.
We are reaching for